Sitting here as three black men, and when I hear voice for the voiceless, I think about things that are being imposed on people that relates to underserving, relates to discrimination, relates to work environments that don't allow you to fully reach your potential. COVID ain't racist. COVID ain't nothing that somebody said, hey, you need to stop getting people sick and ill and causing them to die from circumstances of having to deal with COVID-19. So I don't necessarily understand who are you speaking for when you say that these vaccine mandates, you're raising a voice for the voiceless. I don't understand that. Like when I think about a voice for the voiceless, I think about all of the issues that we've talked about, not only in the NBA. Stephen A., you've talked about black coaches in the NBA. You've talked about black people in leadership. We got this ongoing discussion about how the diversity and inclusion needs to be a real thing instead of being on pamphlets and things just being said and structure in the NFL. I just don't understand this one. This one bothers me, and I'm with you, Molly, on something you said. Like COVID not worried about Kyrie if he voiceless or has a voice. Like I tell y'all again, I had an aunt that spent 3 months in the hospital, touch and go for 2 months. This is not anything I heard about or read about. This is something that I absolutely saw. Not only drain on her, drain on her children, drain on my mother, who is a sister, and the family. And not one time did I think that if somebody was to mandate this vaccine, that it would have to be a situation where you had to have an athlete stand up and say, I want to represent the people that don't want to take a vaccine that are losing their positions. Man, these companies don't care about that. Like what? Who are you being a voice for? If you're being a voice for people that are not choosing to take a vaccine, that work for companies that are saying we want a vaccine mandate, that's the bottom line. That is their right. We work for ESPN. We work for Disney. We have a vaccine mandate at this company. And it is simple as this. If you don't want to take it, you will no longer have a job. Those are the consequences. Those are the things that you have to deal with, and you have to make a personal decision. Well, yes, it's consequences if you choose not to. That's the bottom line. So the voice for the voiceless, and oh, by the way, okay, you got a lot of people in this country that had to take the vaccine that didn't want to take two so they could continue on with their livelihood and taking care of their family. They put that at the forefront of not deciding to take a vaccine. Kyrie is worth over $200 million. Hey, people out there that's not taking these vaccines, you stand on what you stand on. But the bottom line is you ain't in the same position Kyrie Irving is in.
Here's the deal. It's a couple of things. Number one, to throw this out there, New York and California, mainly San Francisco and Los Angeles is the two cities, and along with New York City are the only ones with the mandate at this particular moment in time. I do not believe that will last. I ultimately think that is something that would spread, no pun intended, and as a result, you'll see restrictions and mandates being handed down across NBA cities throughout this country. That's what I believe, personally, even though some people would ask why those are only 3 cities with the mandate at this particular moment in time. That's something we could get into another day. You also have some people out there that are talking about how Kyrie Irving will have a huge lawsuit, and he'll win or whatever. Shut the hell up. Ain't nobody trying to hear that either, okay? Here's the bottom line. What you went to last, Marcus, when you talked about Kyrie Irving has earned over $200 million in his career, probably more. Here's the reality. That's really why you're taking this position. You see, this is the kind of stuff that annoys me. And I remember I've said this on numerous occasions when people were talking about, you got players that come into the league and they talk about keeping it real, being authentic and all of this other stuff. And I remember when one player, I brought up how he rolled up in the draft. And you rolled up in the draft and you had on suits and your hair was cut just nice and you were looking sharp as hell and the whole stuff. Why? Because you were trying to get your money. Then once you got your money, now you want to tell everybody about being real and potentially compromising their bottom line because you no longer have to be concerned about yours. See, that's where the selfishness comes in here. The selfishness also comes in here when you're talking about leaving your teammates hanging. And all I'm saying is at the end of the day, when you talk about a voice, listen, Kyrie spoke to the media, Jay. He said it's a privacy matter. That's what he said. He had an opportunity to explain himself. He continues to get opportunities
so how is
to
that
explain
being a
himself.
voice?
But he's saying, excuse me, it's a privacy matter, respect my privacy. So what voice is he talking about?
But
He ain't using it.
Can I ask you a quick question on this one, my man?
Sure.
And I'm pro-vaccine. I've taken a vaccine. I'm double vaxxed.
So have I.
But you said that he's selfish. Doesn't he have the right to be selfish to do what he wants to do for Kyrie? He hasn't said anything.
He
hasn't came out and said that other people should not. He hasn't said anything at all.
I'm answering your question. Your question. Of course he has the right. That's the part that annoys me. When people say he has the right, you act like us criticizing him is us saying he doesn't have the right. He does have the right.
Absolutely.
But he also has the right to be called out for it. Just like somebody has the right to be real. Well, guess what? There's various levels of real. You can be real stupid. You can be real dumb. You can be real selfish. You can be real hypocritical. There's a whole bunch of levels of realness out there in the real world. Nobody is questioning Kyrie's right to take the position that he's taken. What I'm talking about as a person that loves the game of basketball, that's looking forward to the Brooklyn Nets trying to win a championship. I can't believe that you're sitting here, and then he brings up research and all of this other stuff. Well, damn it, it's more than 19 months that this pandemic has been going on. How much research do you need? We've heard players bringing up research and how they're going to talk to their teammates as if their teammate is an epidemiologist or somebody. There's certain things that are just ridiculous, and that needs to be said.